Bridge, North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Yes, that is one of the nicknames it has. Do not at me. We are here at North Wilkesboro Speedway. As I pull up my notes, 0.625 mile track, paved oval short track here in North Carolina. That will be the home of the first race of the AWSCO Snapdragon Continental Series playoffs. 20 drivers, 10 races, 4 rounds, and in the end, one probably random winner as we take you here at the FanDuel Fan Studio for the pre-race segment. Yes, it's Eddie, surprisingly back again. It's a shock they even let me back in this studio, but that's nothing to worry about. I'm here with Ellie. Rasha, in a shock to no one, decided that North Carolina was not worth her time, and I don't blame her. As a proud Virginian. Hello, Ellie.
Hello, how are you doing tonight?
Probably not as good as I should be because I'm in North Carolina, but regardless of that, we are here.
Hey, I'm happy to be
AWSCO is
back down here. North Wilkesboro is a really nice area. It's a good time of the year. The weather's really nice, and I think it's going to be really fun and nice weather to watch the drivers hit the track here.
The glaze is crazy on that. Well, so we're 30 races in. Again, finished with Pensacola, and after that, 20 drivers were named to the Continental playoffs, same number as in Cup. I believe Pensacola was the shock winner, if I do say so myself, with Lynn Oswell sneaking in at the last possible moment. Ellie, you were probably paying attention to that race more than I was. Anything you noticed in Lynn Oswell's win or otherwise with these playoff contenders?
I wasn't there for that race, but I did watch it, and Lynn Oswell's win was a shock. I didn't expect it, and she kind of came out of nowhere, and that's kind of been her thing the entire season leading up into the playoffs. She did have a bit where I wasn't paying too much attention to her because she wasn't performing that well until we were getting really close to the playoffs, and I think it's more so of her kind of getting her act together to kind of show she's in it to win the playoffs, in it to put her name out there and just give us a show.
I can agree with that. Last 6 races, DNQ'd twice, but top 10s in her other 4 appearances. She definitely picked the right time to push forward, and in the end, it did pay off with an appearance in the playoffs. So, 20 drivers in. I don't know the exact things about the point system, but long story short, points, we have set everyone up at 2,000. I believe a win gets you 1 point, and regular season championship gets you 2 points. Regular season champion at the end was, I don't want to say a shock to anyone, except maybe if you were talking about this at the start of the season, Deborah Williams of Dark Horse Racing. Dark Horse, of course, also getting Lynn Oswell and LaTanya Gray in. Names otherwise in the playoffs include Izzy Oberman of Inverness, Ableton Perez of North Star, Hideyoko Hokkaido Velocity, Emma Davenport North Star, Vinny Scholes Inverness, McMillan Enterprises gets both Rana Munoz and Freya von Dornquist in there, Sarah Reynolds from Appalachia, Catherine Edelstein from Heath Clarkson, Rachel Ramos North Star, Fitzmaurice Ozark, Uberman Enterprises with a surprise appearance, even though that's not a surprise because, I mean, it's been a while since Five Flags, where Zoe Quinton won. The previously mentioned Dark Horse Cars, PHLM's Laura Sundale, Project Horizon's Robin Morales, Heath Clarkson gets a second car in there with Edelstein, Cassidy Jones, North Star Motorsports gets Sandy Martell, and thanks to winning Michigan, Annie Starkiev of Gulf Racing rounds it out as technically the worst of the drivers to get in terms of both race finish and points, albeit points was also because she came in halfway through the season. Anything stand out to you of the 20 drivers right off the bat, Ellie?
Yeah, right off the bat, there's 2 drivers I'm going to be paying attention to, and it's going to be Deborah Williams and Naomi Davenport. Now, Deborah Williams, it's not all good news for her, because the reason I'm paying attention to her is because she was really good in the early season and leading into the mid-season, around when I got here for the AWSCO Continental and Cup Series, she was still performing pretty solid, but then as we got closer and closer to the playoffs, she kind of just didn't do much. Now, the exact opposite could be said for Naomi Davenport. I wasn't here for the beginning of the season, but around when I got in, she was doing really great. She even got herself that win in Kentucky in the middle of the season, and she never let that up. She never really started performing too bad. I mean, she led for top tens in the Continental Series. I think she could be a top contender for the playoffs, and she is also a driver I'm going to be watching out for in this race because she does do really well at these tracks, and she's already qualifying here at she's in row 6 on the outside. That's not a terrible place to start. Yes, she is on the outside, but she's always worked her way out and made it into the inside. So she's definitely going to be a driver I'm going to be paying attention to.
Another driver worth looking out for is Reina Munoz. 4 top 15s, 3 top 10s, 2 top 5s in the last 5 races. Someone hitting her stride at the right time. Before we get to the starting lineup, I know you mentioned it, Ellie, I wanted to get to the interesting stat of starts in the Continental Series, because only 6 of the 20 drivers that made the playoffs started every race this season. That was Deborah Williams, Izzy Oberman, Vinny Scholes, Reina Munoz, Cara Reynolds, and Freya von Lundquist. Everyone else missed at least one race. Granted, this could have been early in the season before they have DNQs. There were a couple of drivers, notably Zoe Quinton, Lynn Oswell, Laura Sundale, who missed multiple races very late in this season. Lynn Oswell, of course, missing 2 races right before, in the end, winning at Pensacola. And again, you talk about names like Annie Starkiev or Sandy Martell, drivers who didn't even hit 20 races, but there are a couple drivers in this who didn't even hit 25 races, so only 5/6 of a season done, or even 80% for some of these drivers. Zoe Quinton, Robin Morales, Cassidy Jones, Lynn Oswell, only about 80% of a season. Ellie, do you think that's going to affect some drivers? The fact that they've not qualified for 5 or 6 races, they're obviously going to auto-qualify for every race from here on out. Do you think that the experience of driving more races, even incrementally, is going to matter in this playoff?
For most of these drivers, I will agree and say that the more experience you have on tracks, you're going to do better. But there's a few who have really showed up out of nowhere to replace drivers who got fired or just quit, and they've been doing great. And that would be Zoe Quinton. She wasn't the best leading up to the playoffs, but when I got into AWSCO, she was really solid, and even after that, she ran really well, and she qualified pretty great. I think her thing is we just haven't seen enough of her yet. So there is a certain, a select few of drivers who don't have too much experience on the AWSCO schedule yet, but who have performed pretty decent that I will be looking out for as, I guess, I like to throw this word around, underdogs. I think Zoe Quinton would be one of them.
Really understand that. Uberman Enterprises is very much the underdog. 13th in the team's title right now, only ahead of RGB and Project Horizon Racing. But then we can go to the starting lineup, and again, starting lineup interesting through this playoffs, and that every driver will get a qualifying spot, which also means that any drivers not in the playoffs who don't get into the top 16 will not make the race, which is why you see, if you may see it, the back couple rows very much full of playoff drivers. LaTonya Gray, Hayata Yoko, Robin Morales, Rachel Ramos, Vinny Scholes, Laura Sundale. The last 3 rows taken up by playoff drivers who just didn't qualify into the race. Highest starting Continental playoff driver is Cassidy Jones inside of row 4. I guess I'm just going to go with this, Ellie. Of the 6 drivers, I'll count Kathy Ableton Perez on the outside of row 16 in this group if you want to talk about her. Of those 7 drivers all the way in the back, is there any driver that you think is going to be someone you want to watch go from that sort of not quite last to first challenge, except for Laura Sundale, but someone who you think we're going to see running at the front of this race near the end or for a long time, just from the back of the pack of playoff drivers?
Yeah, the back of the pack of playoff drivers. I had this conversation with Echo not too long ago, and it was about LaTonya Gray, and it was when she isn't crashing into people or causing chaos, she's actually a really solid driver. And I think she's either going to do 2 things. She is going to get in her head and going to crash and burn and ruin this for her, or she's going to lock in and get her act together and she might show up and be one of those drivers that is going to be very interesting to watch for not only this race, but the rest of the playoffs. Another driver, you did already mention, Kathy Ableton Perez. I feel like she's more of that, like, surprise driver. Like, you don't know what her strategy is. She kind of changes it up middle of the race. She kind of just adapts with what's going on in the race, and that's kind of a style that I found very interesting in how she races, and I think she is another driver who is starting in the way back that we should look out for.
Alrighty. Well, we're about set to get ready for the first race of the Snapdragon Continental Series playoffs. I'll go with you, Ellie. Let's do a double take. I didn't confirm this with Echo, but I'm sure FanDuel would also love to put out a bet. Who do you think is going to win this race? And if it's different, who do you think is going to be the highest finisher of the playoff drivers in this race?
I think Naomi Davenport is a top contender for this race. If I'm picking anybody else, this is going to be a hard one. This really is going to be a hard one. I think Jackie Kennedy, but she's starting out really well.
I would agree with that. I'd go with Jackie Kennedy as my winner pick. Of course, the woman who was one spot away from making it into the playoffs would have made it in if Lynn Oswald didn't win that last race. Her starting from pole should be a sign that she wants to make sure this season isn't quite as lost as it might have been by taking this first race, maybe showing up these playoff drivers, proving she should have gotten into the final group. And then in terms of drivers that could, the best driver out of the playoff drivers, I'm going to say something around the effect of Freya von Lundqvist, mostly because, again, talking with Echo has von Lundqvist winning the whole thing in Continental, and I do kind of agree that she's someone who can really get off to a hot start here. And I mean, I do believe she could easily take the highest finishing out of the playoff drivers, not quite lock up a spot, but at least give herself a really good cushion heading into the next two races. Well,
yeah,
that's
I
it for us here
agree with
at
that.
Thank you. I completely cut you off there. That is my bad.
It's okay.
And that's it for the FanDuel pre-race studio. We'll be back for the hella cursed mid-race and then the post-race studio. I'm Eddie Debs. That was Ellie. And we will send it up to Echo and Ladovic in the booth here from North Wilkes-Barre. You got us?
Yes, we in fact do. And thank you for that,
Drivers,
Eddie.
to your cars.
And welcome to the North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. We are just a few hours away, about like an hour, 2 hours away from the Greensboro, Winston-Salem area. And this is a very, very fun short track. It's had abandoned for many years, but recently has had a revival in terms of its racing product. Recently has had a revival, not only in terms of its racing product, but just the racetrack in general. It's back and it's been here to stay. With that being said, Lou, hello, Lou. You're my co-commentator today, I think.
Yes, I am.
I'm glad to have that confirmed. What do you expect here from this race, and what do you think we're gonna see in this first race for the Continental Series for these playoff drivers?
Well, it's North Wilkesboro, so it's gonna be old-fashioned racing, bump and runs probably. We're gonna see maybe a bit of a chaotic one. I think this could be the kind of racetrack where you do see a bit of a not a wreck fest, but at least a bit of a more abundance of caution than a regular racetrack would have. I think these drivers are gonna be careful because it's race 1 of 3, and I don't necessarily want to mess it all up in the first race by having a DNFs, but at the same time, it's gonna have half. Well, it's a little bit more than half of cars that are in the playoffs, but the cars that are not in the playoffs don't really have anything to care about. So I think we're gonna see actually quite a few cars that are not necessarily that high up in the playoffs perform well today. And we've already seen that quite a bit in qualifying, although we do have a few of those cars that are not that good. Well, that are not in the playoffs. I mean, that are not having a good starting position. Even though, yeah, we had many drivers that just got picked up.
Yeah, and I think this is gonna be very fun and interesting. Let's go through our starting grid here, and I will tick off whoever is a playoff driver as well. You'll be able to identify the playoff drivers by the black and red roof banner, the red spoilers, and the red lower nose on their cars. Row 1, Jackie Kennedy, bridesmaid last week, starts alongside Mila Chestina in the 6 car. Row 2 is Maya Shelby in the 5 and Kate Summers in the 8. Row 3, the 04 Emily Tremblay-Vaudrey and the 77 of Rose Lockport. Row 4 is the 4 of Cassidy Jones, the highest starting playoff driver. She's alongside Krista Anderson. Row 5 is the 59 Abby Buchanan and the 15 of Isabella Smith. Row 6 is the 46 of Bridget Brousseau and a playoff driver, Naomi Davenport. Row 7, the 55 Deborah Williams and the 38 of Isabella Fitzmaurice, both playoff drivers. Row 8 is the 95 of Cara Reynolds and the 42 of Freya von Lundquist, again, both playoff drivers. Row 9, the 60 Jennifer Wilson and the 10 of Charlie McCarron. Row 10, this is really row 10, unless I said the last one was row 10. Row 10 is Zoe Quinton in the 82 and the 66 of Ani Starchev, 2 playoff drivers. Row 11, Madison Estrada's filling in the 31 this week in place of Lori Ramirez, who suffered an injury last week at Pensacola. She starts alongside Katrin Edelstein in the 14. Row 12, Eli Ile will make her first start since what track was it that she made her last start at? I think it was the race before Michigan. I don't remember which one that was. She's alongside Tammy Bird. Row 13, the 93 Izzy Oberman, 3-time winner, alongside the 54 Michaela Kirkland. Row 14, the 51 Sadie Martello, and the 96 Lynn Oswell, 2 playoff drivers. Row 15 is the 7 of Reina Munoz, a playoff driver, alongside Leah Azelhart. Row 16, Lulu Connie in the 44, and the 25 Kathy Ableton Perez, another 3-time winner. Row 17, Latanya Gray and Hieta Yoko, 65 and 0, 2 playoff drivers. Row 18 is the 26 of Robin Rallis and the 2 of Rachel Ramos, playoff drivers. And row 19, the 62 of Vinnie Schultz and the 40 of Laura Sundale, again, 2 playoff drivers. They got in because those cars sorted back there because the playoff drivers are locked in, so at the back of the field they just get sorted by their qualifying time. With that being said, what do you think? What do you think is the absolute key here for these for the playoff drivers, and what do you think is going to be important for the non-playoff drivers?
Playoff drivers, you just not have to DNF, because if you DNF, it's basically over unless you get away. Oh, somebody. Well, all right.
And I gotta reset.
Yes. Yeah, the playoff drivers, you just don't have to DNF. The drivers that are not in the playoffs, just go for it at this point. You don't have anything to lose. All you can do is win you a bunch of money and win your team a bunch of money by winning. And that's basically it. Starting on the inside, since it's a short track, will be quite advantageous, I would imagine.
Yeah, keep in mind as well that the Owner Points Championship is still up for grabs, and the Owner Points Championship isn't based on the playoffs. It still runs with the old point, with full season points. Green flag is out. Here we go. We're racing from North Wilkesboro. Decent bit of contact further back here. Cassidy Jones got bumped a good bit by Isabella Smith. She's going to hang on, though, and Jackie Kennedy is going to hold the lead on lap number 1. Meanwhile, we're going 4 wide back here.
That wasn't a great indicator, and now they're really aggressive here at the start of the back of the field. Not necessarily that surprising, because I would expect those drivers to maybe just have had a bad qualifying.
Isabella Smith!
Jeez.
And Davenport, that I'm not sure how that wasn't a wreck, but they both hung on to it somehow.
Yeah, the lucky thing at these short tracks is that the speeds don't get too high, so it's more easy to control the car when you get those bit of touchy moment. God, we keep seeing 3 and 4 wide across the field. That is not necessarily what you want to see, but it's I mean, that's the only way you're gonna win a bunch of
Caution,
places.
yellow is out.
Oh well, that's,
We have a yellow.
yeah, that's not surprising.
Looks like it's Latanya Gray.
Oh,
Lynn
wow.
Oswell is spun into the pit lane. Sundale, Ramos, Latanya Gray. Robin Morales might have been involved. My phone's going off. Everything's happening.
Yep. Early caution, then. That's not necessarily the biggest surprise.
Yeah, with how they were racing, I'm surprised it took that long.
Hopefully now we get a single file restart. It's going to be easier for those folks to not go 3 and a 4 wide, because that was unsustainable really, since it was pretty much democratized across the field. A few drivers in, mostly those with damage.
I believe the 96 got spun into the pit lane. She's actually coming out of pit road right now.
There's a driver coming in.
There is a driver coming in. Who is that? Is that, that's Isabel Fitzmaurice in the 38. And I see that 2 of Rachel Ramos also has no front end. Looks like it's going to be a bit of a long day for Rachel Ramos. But, hey, you need points, and, you know, there were a lot of playoff drivers that were involved in that incident. I think it was only playoff drivers.
I mean, if it happened at the back of the field, yeah, it's pretty much only playoff drivers.
Let's go back and see what brought out the caution. Somewhere back here, I believe. Ooh, Robin Morales gets into Lynn Oswell. That's what happened to Lynn Oswell.
What a stupid bit of racing here. I think that was Morales that got in the back.
That was Morales that gets
that
into the
was
96 there.
How idiotic. It's lap 4. Come on, you're a playoff driver. You shouldn't do that.
Just trying to make up positions and
on the outside.
went a little too weirdly. Weirdly, the outside has actually seemed like it's been an okay place to pass through practice and through both Cup and Continental practice. It looked like the outside was actually fairly competitive, but again, we'll see how that fares in the race.
The thing is that it's fairly competitive, but this is the race start, and this is a almost pack race, and it was really there, so that makes it not necessarily the most easy factors to make a pass around the outside. So again, they're playoff drivers. I don't know why they took so many risks this early, but you know, I guess it's just unfortunate for the drivers who were not involved in that accident. Well, who were involved in that accident, but were not, you know, causing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they're at least still running. Like the 65, the 40, the 38, they're all still running.
Oh, the 2. Does it have some kind of issue?
I don't know what the 2 is doing. Well, we're about to go back to green flag racing here. Pace car is pulled off. Oh, the 38, I think, is coming to pit road. Again. Green flag! We're back to racing. Gotta be careful at this track, especially when you're taking the restarts, because you don't want to get a penalty for jumping the start. Especially if you're one of those cars that's restarting in the corners. Because if you're one of those cars that's restarting in the corners, there's a chance you go to the inside, try to make a pass. They catch you, you get black flagged, and you have to come to pit road to serve a penalty, and you lose around 1 or 2 laps just from that.
It was interesting to see in the on the restart there, a lot of these drivers just went into the full inside, and that's why we didn't really see that many overtaking attempts on the first lap here. They originally just closed the 38 is going to be a lap down. That's unfortunate. Oh,
38's, I think, yeah, the 38's going to be a lap down. I think she may end up 2 down here, actually. Caution. There's another spin.
Oh.
Madison Estrada.
that seems like a hard one. Ouch. Pit wall.
Watch out, Oswell. Okay, she already despawned. Looks like everybody's coming to pit road here. Well, except the 38.
What's the pit cycle here?
About 100 laps, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, 10% of a pit cycle. That seems like a good time to come in.
'31 is done. Robin Morales will get the free pass car. She was the first car 1 lap down at the time of the yellow. Kennedy will leave pit road first, so the 12 will retain the lead.
I think that a lap 14 caution is really just annoying everybody because it's
Probably.
not like you can scratch it to a 1-stop from this. I mean a 2-stop from this. No, 1-stop.
See if we can figure out what happened there. I saw the 82 was involved, but that was all I saw. Looks like the 10 just gets into her. And then again, gets into her. Oh my goodness, Sandy Martel. And Leah Azelhart just kind of piles in. Ooh, Reina Munoz also piled in. That's... What happened with Madison Estrada? Why did she get in
Probably
the pit wall?
trying. Oh,
She's trying to get back on the track. She just misjudged it, maybe?
yeah, that's
It's the only...
it's not small.
that's
Just
the only- That's the
just
only guess
biting.
I have.
I mean, might I don't know. There might have been something wrong with the direction, and obviously she didn't notice that before she got started. But she was so close to the wall that really she just didn't have a chance to slow down. But this is gonna be an interesting restart here because everybody's on fresh tires, like they were at the start. But now it's a single line restart, and we're gonna have quite a few slow cars now because it's what the total of maybe 10 cars involved in accidents already on lap 16.
There's a decent bit of slow cars.
This is gonna turn into one of those endurance racing lookalikes with cars that are like 3-4 seconds off the pace pretty quickly, I think. If we keep this rate of attrition.
Zoe Quinton has retired. 82 is done.
That's big for the playoffs.
That is a playoff car, yes. So Zoe Quinton will be behind the 8 ball going into next week's race in Kansas. Meanwhile, Isabella Fitzmaurice. Yeah, I didn't mean to have them restart. The 38 should have been waved around. That's my bad. We're gonna send them around for another couple laps of yellow, just to get that sorted out.
I mean, they have to repair the damage on the pit wall. And they have to put new
Yeah.
I guess those are barrels of water.
I'm at least glad we have the time phasing pace car. That at least helps.
Yes. Maybe it's just to kill down those driver nerves, you know. This is quite a stressful time of the year. Well, some drivers are coming in again. All right, well.
22 to 25 looks like pretty much all the North Star cars. Well, except for the 51 of Martel, but...
Oh my
oh, no.
goodness.
Now, like, everybody else is coming in. Okay.
Oh no.
Well, that'll shake things up.
Well, that's quite awkward. Yeah, that's not a very necessary pit stop to make.
No, not really, but might as well, I guess. It's still early, so I don't think they're even gonna lose that much ground. Not a lot of cars came in.
I mean,
some cars may actually kind of gain a little bit.
You had a bit of a pit wall contact here. You know what? I think it was a 55. But I mean, not that many cars came in, yes. But this is going to be a track position kind of track. So those positions do matter.
We're gonna go green this time because I didn't even mean for that to happen, but you know, it's whatever.
There's a car of damage here.
Looks like
I
think that's
gotten damage on that.
might be the 7 of Munoz because she was.
Oh, yeah. I think a car came into the pits.
Yes, the 65
Yes.
Latanya Gray did. Pace car's in, and this time we will have the restart for real. Actually, no, we won't, because I still need to wave some cars around in the top 10.
They're really having trouble putting those new barrels in, and it's tough. Well, you know, it's North Carolina. They're not all that bright.
All right, now we'll go green.
There you go.
I promise we're actually going green this time. All right, green flag is out, and we're back to racing after almost 10 laps of caution. We may have a challenge for the lead because here comes Krista Andresen in the 35 car. Here comes the 25 to pit road for some reason. Might have gotten a penalty.
That's probably why. I would imagine in 10 laps you would have gotten time to fix everything you gotta fix. Oh, there's it. Is there the pit line repair clock here? Oh, alright.
Well, that's a really bad deal for Ableton Perez. That's a playoff driver. By the way, Rachel Ramos is actually keeping okay speed right now, despite looking like this.
I mean, it helps that this is a short track, honestly. This
Yeah,
might,
40 is on pit road.
The 40 is on pit road, alright, well. That's great.
She had damage.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, 3 wide here. Evan Morales is being shuffled. Edelstein's getting into cars.
Considering that this is going to be only a 2-stopper in our line, it should be. Those cars having damage, yeah, they're going to keep the rhythm to begin with, but at the same time, they got to push harder to keep that rhythm to the front guys. So they're going to suffer in the strategy aspect.
65 is pit looping. She comes in one more time, she's done. 12 of Jackie Kennedy's caught up to the 40 of Sundale. She's trying to use the outside to get around right now.
Do you
Not
know what
sure.
the tire fall off is at this track?
It's pretty significant, from what I recall.
That's gonna, yeah. The strategy is gonna be essential here more than.
It's gonna be the fuel window's longer than 100 laps. They pit shorter than that though for tires, pretty much.
And that makes me the tires critical in this race.
All right, 65.
Oh.
Are you coming to pit road again? Yes, you are. You're done. Tanya Gray out of the race. That's another playoff driver, so that's also crucial. Gray will be behind the 8 ball.
Playoff drivers not really doing well today.
No, not really. But also, we have one playoff driver right here battling for the second spot. Sandy Martel fighting with Crystal Anderson right now.
I mean, I would hope so, considering they're half of the field.
They're more than half the field.
Yeah, more than half of the field.
Martel will take second away. Now you got Naomi Davenport in 4th. There's Rachel Ramos in 5th, despite having half her car missing. Ani Starchev is in 8th. There's Isabella Fitzmaurice, who's a lap down right now.
Quite a few cars will lap down. Only 30 on the lead lap, I believe.
29 are on the lead
29.
lap right now.
Yeah. And now they seem to get it going. They're not gonna.
Sandy
I don't think they're
Martel-
gonna wreck as much now. So.
And Sandy Martel seems like she's probably going to try to get through a lot of these cars because she's going through the 40 right now. The 40 of Sundale doesn't seem to be slow. She just seems to have kind of gotten messed around with because she had that damage, and I think she might have had some kind of issue where she had to come down pit road.
Yeah, also helps that she's gonna have slightly younger tires here. I don't know how many laps after the green flag she came in, but.
It's like 2, I think.
Oh, okay. So forget that.
Here's the 5th spot. Here's the 5th place battle. That's Tammy Bird and Rachel Ramos.
And we're already starting to see those gaps quite prominent. 5 seconds between 1st and 10th.
Yeah.
And if those gaps continue, this is not going to be one of those races where you have 20 contenders and the lead switches back. You might have.
Well, I think that's.
If this rhythm continues, where you might have 2 or 3, which isn't a bad thing.
I'd rather have that at a short track.
Yeah. I'm not saying this is bad. This is gonna be a race complexion that's quite different
From last week at Pensacola, especially.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was yeah. I would hope so.
What, you're telling me a short track is different than a super speedway? Next thing you'll tell me the sky is blue.
Well, hey, I don't know. They tried with Bristol and that didn't work. But yeah, I mean, currently it's a start that's. If you ignore the first 25 laps of cautions, the drivers seem to have understood that this racetrack's not going to be necessarily a racetrack where you should wreck. Not really going to bring you anything.
This track is not really forgiving.
No, it's not. And I mean, this track, it's not the hardest to overtake at, but it's not easy.
We may see a pass for the lead here pretty soon because Martel's reeling Kennedy in right now. Jackie Kennedy's led every lap so far, but I'm not sure that's gonna stay.
Might have been helped with the
lap car, yes.
7 car there, Munoz.
Naomi Davenport in 4th. There's Tammy Bird 5th. Probably have some playoff driver updates every once in a while. Martel, obviously in 2nd. If you're looking for more playoff drivers, Starchev sitting in 8th right now. 14th, there's Cassidy Jones. Katrin Edelstein is battling for 16th with Cara Reynolds right now. And there's a driver you're probably a little familiar with, Lou, is Eli.
No, not her.
She's only in this car temporarily. Actually, you know what? I think I figured out actually how to correctly say her name, and it's Ely.
Almost. You'll get there.
Okay, fair enough.
3 more races.
Hey,
Actually starting to have a bit of a battle here for
the lead.
third. Well, first has already been going quite a bit, but it's third as well. Oh no, those are lappers. Well,
Those are lappers, but this is for position, I believe. Oh no, it's not. Excuse me. Wait, no, it is for position. Yes, it is. This is for the first car 2 laps down. Wow, what a very
crucial.
important battle. Well, to be fair, they're both playoff cars actually, so it actually is pretty crucial if you're looking at points.
I mean, it might be considering that how many playoff drivers have DNF'd already in this race? 4?
2, just 2.
Oh,
Well, we only
just
have 3
2,
DNFs.
okay. Yeah, that's true. We only have 3 DNFs, but I mean, that's 2 playoff drivers, which means that those points might be the cutoff here after this race.
It very well could be.
More DNFs, which is totally possible.
Jackie
But
Kennedy.
we already see lap cars on speed on lap 48. Yeah, that's not a great indicator of pace here for the 10.
And the 10 also has damage.
Fortunately, that's not a playoff car, so...
No, but she is competing for the owner points title. Because of how big of a lead Eliza Evergreen dragged that car into at the start of the season. When McCarran took it over, despite everything, McCarran's still leading the owner points in the 10 car.
Yeah, that's... ouch.
Although the gap was like 100 points before, and it's now, I think, like 38, something like that. Which, you know, probably not the greatest look if you're trying to keep that ride, especially with how the teams are being... Every team is being forced to downsize to 2 cars next season.
And that's putting... it's gonna put a lot of these drivers on the hot seat, especially now with more DNQs for the on playoff cars. That makes it, very hard to distinguish yourself when you're trying to get one of those seats if you're, having a bit of a struggling season, maybe more of a rookie or...
Yeah.
And there's going to be quite a few drivers pushing from those lower tiered series, wanting to get in a big show. Well, the semi-big show. It's not the Continental series.
Yeah.
It's a step.
Man, it's a bigger step than a lot get to. Martell closed up to Jackie Kennedy, but she just hasn't been able to find a way around Kennedy. I think Martell's been okay with keeping pace, but I don't think Martell has more pace than Kennedy does right now.
And I think what's very interesting that we're seeing right now is the top 2 have just gone away, but the rest of the field is actually compressing a lot here.
Yeah.
Because of those lappers. And that gap, which used to be a good 7-8 seconds, now down to only 5 between third
Between
place
fourth and
fifth,
between
10th
fifth and
place.
10th, fourth and 10th is only about 5 seconds. Is only about 4 seconds right now.
And that is. I mean, 4 seconds is basically what a mistake costs you, like hitting the wall, something like that. That's basically what it costs you. So these drivers are going to be flawless right now. And with lap traffic, not necessarily that easy. Especially, lap traffic like this, it's very slow. Is quite unpredictable sometimes on braking zones. So. Can't really, it's not the easiest to overtake, even if the delta is the biggest, it's the riskiest kind of lap traffic you can get, really.
Yeah.
It's more that it's risky than it's difficult.
Thought we might see a battle for 8th there. There was Abby Buchanan challenging Ani Starchev.
Yeah, so the 37 of the Lockport, not that far back.
You know, Lockport's starting to close in on these two. We're seeing Mila Tristina starting to close up on Rachel Ramos. You got Tammy Bird closing in on Naomi Davenport. We got Krista Anderson just doing her thing in third right now.
Kind of interesting that we're kind of starting to see pairs here. Pairs of drivers.
Yeah.
And then you just got the
And this is the mess. This is where a lot of the playoff drivers are right now, because Jones is back here, Edelstein's here, there's Van Lundquist is here.
I mean, keep in mind, for those playoff drivers, they that started at the back, the best way to get in front is to get it at the start, and they didn't really get a start more than 2 laps.
Yeah.
And so that makes it quite difficult to actually gain positions. And
ooh, we did have a change to the lead though. Sandy Martel took it away from Jackie Kennedy. That might have had to do with the lap car, but we've had our first lead change. Martel out front now.
yeah, Kennedy's not had the greatest time with those lap cars, and gonna lose a bit more time here. She's goodness me, a second.
She's lost a whole second now to that
Maybe
51.
burned her tires too quickly. We are getting somewhat close to halfway on that tire life. Although the line is kind of fuzzy now because of the 10-lap caution and what the tire really is for those drivers.
Well, and keep in mind, a lot of drivers as well took a lot of drivers as well during that yellow flag, stayed out and didn't even take tires.
And some took 2, and some.
Yeah.
I don't know if any took 4. I would hope that. I would hope not, but maybe.
This is a battle that doesn't matter at all. I see Isabella Fitzmaurice is coming back down pit road again. I'm not really sure why.
Seems to have had some contact of some sort here. Fixing damage. From what I believe I saw, at least with the.
It looked like she had a little bit of a scrape on the side of her car, but I couldn't really tell if that was from anything or not. Kennedy's not really
Meanwhile,
gaining on Martel right
well,
now.
Kennedy is not gaining. However, they've already cut the back of that mid-pack. Well, I don't know if you can call it that. But more importantly, the 51 is now gaining time on the rest of the field, which wasn't really happening those last few laps with Kennedy. The gap kind of had stabilized at 10 seconds. Up to 12. I imagine it's going to come down now that they're catching the mid-pad, but that's just momentary.
Well, now the 12 is still trying to navigate the 7 here as well of Reina Munoz.
I think we're going to start to see those gaps explode once the pit cycle happens, assuming it's under green.
Yeah.
Because look at it, 10th is already 12 seconds away. A lap time here is what, 19 seconds? 20 seconds?
The 38's going to blow by because the 38 just took fresh tires. You're going to see what fresh tires do right now because look at what the 38's about to do.
Those are going to be very risky because there's probably going to be maybe 1 or 2 more drivers coming in because they hit the wall too hard and had to fix damage. And those drivers are the ones that might make a mistake and misinterpret a car that they're overtaking, and it's so easy at a short track to just do that and end up in the wall. And at a short track, it's kind of forgiving when it's lower speeds, but when the speed differential is big, like it is in this case, it's less forgiving because there's kind of less of a big contact is bigger at a short track because you don't get as fast. And so when you slow down, you really slow down to 0. as where at a speedway it can get a pretty big contact and still run, around 60, and they don't have split caution for that.
Ooh, speaking
Ooh,
of.
well, yep, that's what I was expecting.
Ooh,
Goodness,
she is
that
pushing
is-
the issue. I'm not really sure why, but she's pushing the issue.
And, I think that was more. I think it was more to send a message than anything here.
Yeah, probably,
Probably
actually.
Traveled around and they didn't like it.
.22 seems to have a little bit of side damage. But she's holding off the 84 right now.
I mean, luckily she has a 3-second gap. We're halfway through the. Assuming that we didn't get significant tire wear during the pit cycle, we're halfway through the pit cycle, and that means, that means that it's 3 seconds catchable because of that bit of damage. Well, no, she's not even losing time here, so that's kind of surprising.
Yeah, she's not losing time or anything, really.
Would have thought it might have been a little bit bigger. I didn't think it was the end of the world, but North Footsboro is still, arrow helps here a bit.
Yeah, it's arrow heavy. Seeing Martel just kind of pressure Shelby right now. We've also got Jackie Kennedy still trying to navigate her way through the lap cars and get back to the 51. The 51 is still kind of stuck behind this 5 car right now, though.
Yes, but they're not losing time by being stuck behind, and I think that's because this mid-pack is not that slow. It's just the cars in front are so fast in comparison to the rest of the pack for some reason that they're just catching up to these cars very quickly. But they're not actually slow cars, so they don't slow down the rest of the pack that much. That makes it,
What
yes,
is...
ooh.
What? Okay.
Is there some
93 and
issue or
50...
something? Or is this just a,
93 and 55 got into each other. They almost hooked each other into the inside wall there, but I think they're okay now.
Alright, that was interesting.
A bit odd.
Alright, well, I mean...
51 is still stuck, by the way.
I mean, these cars are gonna be stuck for...
They're side by side now in front of her, too, and the 12 is catching up.
Yeah, and we're getting closer to the end of the run. This is kind of the moment where the outside line starts to actually become profitable because you just get more speed in, and the inside just
you
doesn't
can
have-
conserve a little more on the high side now.
Yeah. And that inside just probably doesn't get a good launch onto that backstretch here.
51 finally going to try and get around the 5 of Maya Shelby. She's been stuck behind that 5 car for like 15 laps now. But Kennedy's going to follow right in her tracks, so... And, you know, despite the fact that we had those 2 cautions early, it's now looking like a very clean race right now.
I mean, it's looking clean because we're looking at the cars that were, ahead of everybody in not the mid-pack. The mid-pack, the few times we looked at it, was pretty...
it was hectic, but it wasn't... They weren't, like, wrecking.
They weren't wrecking, but, I mean, I would bet that there would have been quite a few contacts, or at least close calls here.
Yeah, probably.
I think that getting 10 drivers off the pace, maybe not 10 drivers, but let's say 5-6 drivers off the pace, plus getting those cars that are DNF'd, probably helped. There's a smaller
probably
pack,
a little bit.
less chances of a crash here. gap to 10 found now up to 14.5 seconds. And I mean, seems like yeah,
They are really slow tire-wise right now. You can kind of tell.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get a car that it needs to come in now, because that car would just, yeah, that car would be what, 3 seconds ahead.
You can kind of hear how slow they're going in the corners right now too. Like, they're about 2 seconds off their fast laps now.
I mean,
And
they
that's only
basically
about,
have to,
you know, what, 60 laps on this tire run?
basically you have to get off the gas for the entire corners here.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the corners. Like coming off the gas, or braking there, and then just coming off the gas for about half the corner, more than half the corner actually.
We're watching Jackie Kennedy's
big.
splits there.
Especially at a track like North Wilkesboro, which doesn't have long pit doesn't have long pit lanes.
No, this track has a pretty narrow pit
Yeah.
lane.
I mean, not pit straights. Well, pit
Yeah.
lane 2. The pit lane 2 is pretty.
It is a very narrow pit
Short.
road.
But
It also
straights
curves
too.
around the straightaway, so that's another
Well,
issue.
I mean, that's your regular. I mean, it's not your regular pit lane, but kind of needs to be that way to
Well, yeah.
get a cop here.
Kennedy's closing up again.
And let's say I've seen some concepts of double pit lanes, which seems incredibly hectic, but maybe that would those
Ooh,
works.
here we go. Here comes the 12 car, Jackie Kennedy for the lead. To the inside on the 51 of Sandy Martel. Is she gonna get it clear? Not quite yet. She's got it now. Oh, and Martel got shoved up to the lap cars. Jackie Kennedy
Yep.
takes the lead right back.
Seems like there's 5 drivers up to pace with our leaders. Basically, the 35 is completely up to pace, and the 22 and 84 are losing a bit, but not that much.
I think
we might
Rose
have a
Lockport.
5
Rose Lockport in the 77 may be a sleeper. She's been moving quite a
Nah.
bit through the field.
Well, the issue is that she's starting 11 seconds back.
She's well back,
That's-
yes.
That is incredibly hard. Unless I'm talking, obviously now I'm talking if we don't get a caution. If we get a caution,
Yeah, if we
for
get a
all of
caution,
these things-
well, if we get a caution,
Oh.
that's gonna make everything's gonna be way different if we get a yellow.
But if we don't get a caution, 11 seconds in 150 laps, that's almost 12 seconds in a really. 1150 laps, that's a lot. It's almost a second per 10 lap, which a second per 2 minutes, not per 2 minutes, a second per what, 5 minutes? That's 3 minutes. That's kind of hard to do.
We're almost 2.5 seconds off the fast laps now, so
I mean, the undercutting will obviously be the
Whoa,
strategy.
the 38.
Believe here. Oh, wow, that was wide.
she just shoved the 51 though. That was more. She just kind of shoved the 51 out of the way there.
Yeah, that's kind of immature here. The 38.
Well, she's 3 laps down. I don't know
I mean,
why
yeah,
she's doing
sure,
that.
but
I don't know why she's doing that.
I mean, if she continues to drive like this, she's gonna let a lot of people angry. Oh goodness, the 51's not having a good time here.
Yeah, that really hurt the 51 because the 51 got shoved way out of line, and now she's
And-
over almost a second and a half behind Kennedy now.
And when you got
And she keeps pushing the issue with everybody.
When you got tires this sensitive,
Oh.
oh god, every single shove really just messes up your tires for maybe 2-3 laps. Because, yeah, it doesn't ruin them, but you know, it's very hard to regain speed when you're when you don't have that much grip. Like these drivers drivers have basically no grip at this point. Kind of like running slight damp track. Oh! What was that move here?
Something.
35 is actually only for 3 seconds. That what the 35 is gaining massively now.
Yeah, she is. She is closing. I mean, it helps that we've got, you know, they're all bunched up in the lap cars right now, but 35 is gaining quite a decent bit now.
I mean, that's meanwhile the 22 and 84 just losing a lot of the advantage they had. I don't know what they got.
Yeah.
Maybe a bunch of traffic. Yeah, that's a bunch of traffic.
The bunch hey, the 77 is also running faster laps than the leader too.
Yeah, that's well, the 37 seems to have done that for basically the entire race.
Something like that.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, again, that's hard to watch, but it's just that she's so far behind. She'd need
she's
good
so
pit
far
stops.
behind, yeah.
She'd need good pit stops, no cautions. Well, or if she get a caution, she'd need to be, you know, on the good side of a caution.
12 went way wide, by the way. Caution! Caution is out. Oh my gosh!
Goodness.
The 44, Lulucani, and the 95. Carl Reynolds, a playoff car. Involved in that. These cars, I believe, are still racing back.
That's another playoff car that'll, I don't know if it'll be out, but it'll be damaged.
46 of Brosseau appears like she'll be the free pass car. Well, that
And
should be
obviously
a
you're coming
free
in.
pit stop for pretty much everybody.
So this is now a one stopper, which is quite interesting. I mean, it's basically back to the
Yeah, Reynolds is done.
back to the strategy would have been at the beginning of the race, actually. So that's interesting.
Let's watch the race off pit road. Jackie Kennedy leads the way right now, but we'll see if she'll be able to hang on to the lead off pit road. Looks like 4 tires. I would be very surprised if you didn't take 4 tires.
One can of fuel for most of the field.
And 1 can of fuel, I don't see why... I think 1 can
Actually,
of fuel is
some
fine.
drivers
You're
took
not
2.
spending that much fuel.
I think 2 drivers took 2, I believe, from what I saw.
There was a couple that took 2, yeah.
But
51,
it's interesting.
35, 84, 77, 22, 6, 2, 88.
Bad stop for
59,
Davenport.
14. Yeah, not a great stop for the 22.
And good stop with a 77. That's what you need.
Yes. And she'll be up at the front with the leaders now too, so.
All right. Oh, well, oh, yeah.
46 was the free pass car. I think she's trying to
Yeah,
let
yeah,
she's trying to
get
let
let
everybody
everybody
by,
pass.
but
I don't know why you do that by staying in the middle of the racetrack, but hey.
we'll just pan away from it. It won't be a problem
Yeah,
then,
it's
right?
just the French are a bit slow. Give them time. All right.
Well, let's see what went on there.
Get our FanDuel replay in. Takes a bit of time. This is a. We thank that broadcast team, but it's kind of having.
It looks like that was already happening. It's Lulu Connie and Jennifer Wilson, I believe. Oh, it was the 38.
God, that good Nash. That is.
Oh, yeah, she just pushed the 44 into the corner with the 60. Just not a move that needed to be made, and Carl
That
Reynolds
is-
had pretty much nowhere to go.
If I was the marshals here, I would. I mean, I would end out some penalties here. This is
46 is going to be lap plus at the restart, by the way.
the 38 has been acting irresponsibly all race long. This is not just a one-time thing. So it's Yeah, this is, I mean, people in this series are very relaxed.
Well, we're about to go back to green.
51's got damage.
Yes, she does. Not sure where that came from. Here we go, green flag. Battle for third. Here comes Tammy Bird on Krista Andresen. Goes Lockport back here. Now trying to get by the 35. Might see Lockport, see if she goes for third. Not quite yet. 55, Deborah Williams is down pit road. She might have gotten a penalty. That's pretty big. Regular season
51.
champion.
51 doesn't have the same speed she had now. This is...
Oh,
she's
caution.
holding back the
Oh,
field.
7. There's cars in the wall for some reason.
38!
7 car
let's hope
of Reina
she's not involved.
Munoz spun around. I don't know. She could have been involved. It's very possible. Yellow's back out.
Yeah.
Most of these cars are staying out. '60 of Jennifer Wilson is coming to pit road. '93 of Izzy Oberman should be the free pass car. So a very lucky break for Oberman. She gets a lap back now. And she'll be back on the lead lap. Let's see if we can figure out what happened with Reina Munoz. She got spun around at the line. 26 of Robin Morales looks like got into her.
At least it wasn't a 38
Oh,
this time.
dear.
Ooh.
That's why the 38 and 16 were in the wall.
Yep.
Because they were trying to avoid the 7 there, and they just carried a little too much speed.
I think this track seems to have something where once you get tires with drivers with tires that are quite I guess fresh. Seems like it doesn't really like that. Drivers get kind of crazy. Maybe this time they'll be more responsible in the restart. Nobody really came in, so.
Nobody came to pit road, yeah.
Also, I'm quite surprised that these cars have been very reliable today. I haven't seen a short track, especially one with a surface this rough. I would have expected to see a little bit more of a I guess, mechanical issues, but good to see the cars maybe performing well today, even if the drivers aren't. Most of them, anyway.
Lights are out. We're gonna go back green. Another thing that a chunk of cautions will do is it will get a fair few drivers back on the lead lap that are laps down right now. You know, Izzy Oberman just got back on the lead lap. She was already a lap down. She's back on the lead lap. Pace car's off. Still a decent chunk of playoff cars on the lead lap right now. You got Martel, Davenport, Ramos, Edelstein, Starchev, Von Lundquist, Jones, Yoko, and now Izzy Oberman. As the 51 looked to the inside of Kennedy for the lead on the restart. Oh, the 35 is spinning around in front of the field. Hangs on to it. What a save. There will be a caution.
Caution anyway. What are those stewards doing? All right.
Well, she spun in the middle of the track, to be fair. Like on the racing groove.
Cars were over, but you know. All right.
That was a good save by Krista Andersen to not only not get hit by anybody, but just keep it off of anything. '54, Michaela Kirkland's come down pit road. What that means another car gets back in the lead lap. It'll be the 5 of Maya Shelby. I don't know who that was that got into the 35, but I'm going to check that on replay here. It might have been Davenport, actually. I think it was. Yep, it was Davenport. Just gets in the quarter panel.
Yeah, that seems like an honest mistake.
Probably, yeah.
And it was just, I mean, they went 3 wide, but not because anyone really wanted to. It just kind of ended up that way.
Yeah, it just happened. By the way, Vinny Schultz has now been the car 1 spot off the lead lap for the last 2 yellows.
Good job, Vinny.
Or one off the free pass position, excuse me. So, they see the drivers seem to want to be delaying the mid-race report as much as they can. You think
we're gonna get the mid-race report this is just gonna be a caution fest until the end. This is the end of the race. Actually, we can. Jackie Kennedy, you won the race. Congrats. All right, everybody, go home. Nah, but you know, we had to have around 10 laps of the tires wearing out for these cars under caution for it to kind of make everybody calm down. So maybe that's what we're gonna get. Maybe that's what we're gonna get this time. Maybe we just need a big timeout. You know,
Yeah.
It's stressful being a driver. Gotta let them relax.
By the way, how about Ile in 7th spot right now in the 88 car? She's not running this car for the rest of the season. She's just running it for the next 3 races because they signed Brenda Davis to drive that car. And Davis still had to serve her 3-race suspension from New Hampshire, so they put Ile in it. You think she's doing good? Running 7th right now.
Unfortunately, she's out of a ride.
Green flag. Decent bit of action, but looks like mostly everybody keeps it calm for now.
Yep. They kept it one line at the beginning of the field, the front of the field. I mean, that's perfectly fine, honestly. Oh,
There's a
somebody got a
Conqueror
penalty
5
here.
car of Shelby.
Alright. Well, they kept it clean at the front of the field, which is good.
She was the
with
free
that-
pass car, so she might have just gotten penalized for not restarting correctly.
That is unfortunate. Not well, yeah, she won't beat a free pass next time, I would imagine.
We'll see where she is, but I think she's gonna cycle around last car on lead lap, so I'll just give her her lap back anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, car blowing up. That's the 0 Yoko.
Man, who could have predicted that? No one saw that coming. Alright. 0, well, at least we'll be able to get on pit lane, I would imagine.
I think
he
she'll be able
just
to
missed
get.
the pit
Yeah,
lane.
she'll be able to get to pit road.
Alright, well, the 12's got a massive lead already. Seems like the 12 strategy is just get as far ahead as possible and then just coast of that with slightly worse tires. Header.
We're just gonna pretend the 5 didn't get that penalty, so
Alright.
so
Well,
they're just
congratulations to
really
5.
they're just really far back on the lead lap
Yeah,
now.
the 5 really just had a hard time coming back. You know, it's a long track, North Wilkesboro, so...
Yeah, it's it's like 6.625 miles. That takes like
Yeah, I mean, don't
Four-
you see? It's 500 miles.
that
this
takes
racetrack.
like 5 minutes to run. You know.
Yeah. No, but it's a 5-mile racetrack that takes 2 minutes to run a lap at. Or in the good in the good car. Or if you're on a good lap, like a pole lap, you know, it could take up to 1 minute 70 seconds. That's very good.
Ellie.
Yeah, we're hearing reports from the 0 car team that the issue that happened with her, it was a header issue, and that's what took her out.
Very unfortunate, especially because Yoko is one of those playoff drivers. She is really, really trying to get. She really needs all those points. Meanwhile, Rose Lockport looking to the inside on Tammy Bird, not able to make the move yet.
Alright. Well,
There's Lynn Oswell back here fighting with Bridget Brousseau.
honestly, considering if we don't get a caution before the rest of this race, I would say they probably shouldn't be fighting right now because they don't want to lose that front of the pack. Because it's only one pit cycle, and one pit cycle. If you're far back and you're suddenly starting to be good, like the 77 was, not a great amount of time to come back with only one pit cycle where you can actually gain more than a few seconds in a
Yeah.
more than a few attempts. I mean, a few seconds in a lap.
Lockport just lost a bunch as well. She's been chucked behind the 6 and the 22 now. Chistina got by. You see Tammy Bird going to the inside on Sandy Martell for second. With that being said, I think we're going to take you down to our FanDuel Fan Studio for our mid-race report. We're about 10 laps past halfway, so I think right now is the perfect time to let Eddie and Ellie take over down there in the FanDuel Fan Studio. What do you two got for us down there?
Hello and welcome to the FanDuel Mid-Race Studio, FanDuel Fan Studio, first of all, for the Mid-Race Report. Eddie and Ellie still down here by the garage. You just heard Ellie make a report about the 0. We've been just sort of hanging around in the garage. I personally have been around Isabella Fitzmaurice, mostly just trying to figure out why she's committing terrorism. But regardless of that, we see ourselves heading into the latter half of this race. Jackie Kennedy leading by 4 seconds. over Tammy Bird. Anything in particular you want to start with, Ellie?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, what's your take on the race so far? You like what you're seeing, or?
This is a race that I would like to call a nothing sandwich, in that there was a bunch of nothing, but it was in between a bunch of caution-heavy periods, and I like thriving in chaos, so I prefer those caution-heavy periods to the longer runs. So yeah, a nothing sandwich is what I would like to call this race. But in the end, we are seeing something interesting. I think the big storyline I'm focusing on right now, Jackie Kennedy being practically dominant all night, which not something we really talked about at the top of the show. We did talk about her getting eliminated from the championship, basically having no chance of the championship, the playoffs, and absolutely kicking ass tonight. I know I'm going to get yelled at for that, but I don't care because that's what she's doing. Yeah, any storylines you've seen, really, Ellie, out of this race?
Honestly, the 22 and how she took that damage, and she's performing pretty fine, and she was keeping up pace before that last caution for the most part until right before it happened. And overall, it's just a lot of the damaged cars aren't performing too horribly right now. And that's kind of the major story that we're seeing, is that you can recover from getting into those wacky incidents that we saw in the beginning of the race.
I would agree. Rachel Ramos staying in the top 10 without a hood is something that I've been really interested in watching. It's even more fun given that she is a playoff driver currently running, and that's also something that's been interesting. You know, we started at the top of the show talking about playoff drivers, and of all the drivers to sort of make a huge run at the start of this race, I didn't expect it to be Sandy Martel, who has been in the top 5 for a lot of this. And I think a lot of people, I mean, I talked about, you know, the wheel giving Sandy Martel a spot in the final 5, which a lot of people disagree with me. Again, it was a wheel, it was random chance, but Martel is showing out at the start of this race, which not something you would expect out of a North Star. I mean, you would expect it out of someone like a Ableton Perez or Davenport. Martel sort of the lesser of the 4 North Star cars, and as soon as I talk about Rachel Ramos, she
got spun into the wall.
Do not have a caution yet. I still see green light. I don't see a yellow flag.
Yellow flag's out.
Green. Oh, now it's out. Rachel Ramos, man, and as soon as we start talking nice about Rachel Ramos, North Star immediately decides that having fun is overrated.
She heard us talking and got nervous, I guess.
I guess she did. I actually have been getting word that this was what Echo and Lou was talking about in this, up in the booth, you know, not on the broadcast, and, yeah, that's fun. I also heard Lou called us amateurs, which I'm not surprised. Lou is a hateful person. There is only hate in her heart.
Hey,
regardless
no
of
bashing.
that, that's not okay. Sure. You know what? Whatever your interpretation is, at this point. I'm not even supposed to be here anyway. I have to be nice, I guess. So, yeah, Jackie Kennedy now coming into the pits. We're, of course, going to miss this pit cycle, but...
Davenport got a slow pit stop last time. I want to see if she gets a decent one this time.
I'll give you the chance to watch it. Let's see what Stina does, if anything. We're going to patiently wait. Kennedy will get off first. See the 84 second.
The 84, it's second. Okay, not terrible this time.
No.
4th instead of 6th.
But I've also been apparently amateur means fan in French Canadian slang. Funnily enough, I've never been to Quebec, so
Quebec is like Canadian Agartha.
Ah, I got you. Now, so yeah, we head into. Oh, now we're gonna cross over the 100 lap to go. I don't know what else there is to say.
Well, we gotta see once this restart eventually happens. I really want to pay attention to who gets a good start off of that, because Jackie Kennedy has been really dominant tonight, but if she gets a good start on the restart, I think we're going to have the rest of the race. She's going to stay that way.
And it's playoff on playoff violence, as it's Annie Starkiev that sends Ramos into the wall. I think we've seen a couple moments of playoff on playoff violence that is going to be a part of this chase, because Project Horizon, Robin Morales has committed some atrocities so far.
It's a hard hit.
Yeah, that's a terrible hit to the driver's side. And we've also seen, again, the big crash early that took cuts of damage to a couple of playoff drivers. Lynn Oswell, Latanya Gray, Laura Sundale among them. I don't know, Ellie, is there any thoughts for those drivers, the drivers who maybe aren't really dealing with their damage as well or are out? I can talk about Kara Reynolds in terms of playoff drivers, and just sort of what do you think they're sort of going through in the garage right now in terms of knowing they have to really perform well these next 2 races or win if they want to not, fall out of the playoffs, which is where they're probably sitting right now, given we started the playoffs with everyone within 3 points.
Well, there's probably some tense conversations going on in the garage of all playoff teams who are out of this race right now. I expect Kyra Reynolds is one of the ones who might be the most tense right now. She kind of got in the playoffs off of some more recent decent performances, and I was kind of shocked that she made the playoffs. So definitely going to have some intense conversations in that team, and I'm sure there are teams who are really angry with each other right now.
You gotta love drama, especially on a race like this. And yes, we have the restart talked about. We're gonna let it run a little bit. 88 gets underneath the 14. Those are not playoff drivers, so not really gonna matter unless the 14 decides to immediately attack someone.
Why don't we mention the 38? What is her deal tonight?
I do not know what Isabella Fitzmaurice is trying to do today, but she's damaged. She's at the back of the pack. Don't think she's going to be much of anything. I think for a couple of these playoff drivers with damage, it's all about surviving and maybe just staying ahead of a couple of playoff drivers so that you're not underneath the cutoff. But again, for a driver like Sandy Martel, I was going to say Starkiev and Ramos, but both of them have fallen out of the top 10. Freya von Lundqvist now up here. I talked about her at the top of the show. And Naomi Davenport. You keep this top 10, even if you don't win, you have a very, very strong lead on these other drivers. And I think we might see a little bit more consistency and a lot less chaos from these teams, just in terms of driving conservatively, not getting a wreck, as we see Lulu Connie make her entrance. That's going to mess up, well, not really mess up Smith and Edelstein. They both kind of go a little bit wide, although she does too. I'm just looking in terms of whether the playoff drivers are going to, I guess, really make a play more conservatively now that they're at the front, or if we're going to see them fight for a win. But from where they're at, I could say there are a couple drivers in a really good spot, a couple drivers not. And we're going to have to see if anything drastically changes over the next 90-something laps. What'd you see?
Good managing. The 46 car and those 15 got a little close, maybe some minor contact. The 46 ended up going a little out of control, but she managed it. I think we are having an issue on Eddie's end real quick. Eddie, are you back?
So I kind of fell out of my chair there. That's dang time.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, it happens. I find it immensely hilarious that at least I took the headphones with me.
All right. I think now is a good time to ask, who is your... Oh, there's smoke. Who is your FanDuel pick for winning tonight?
You know what? I don't think Jackie Kennedy has suffered enough, and I'm used to jinxing people, so I'm going to pick her. And if anything should happen to the 12 car, I will see you guys in the afterlife, because I will assume that team will hunt me down and put me on the gallows by midnight. Yeah, I'm going with Jackie.
It's a decent pick. She's been performing really well. I think I'm going to go with Rose Lockport. she's been really solid. There are times when she was faster than the 12 car when she was all the way out in the middle of the field. I think she has the pace to win it. She just needs to kind of just get past everybody else, and I think she could do it.
Well, in that case, Echo and Ladovic, people gotta bet, which means you guys gotta give them some advice, I guess, or something. I don't know if I take gambling advice from either of you two, but that is it for us. Eddie and Ellie down here in the FanDuel Fan Studio. We will see you for the post race. About, I'm gonna say 85 laps to go until then, which probably way too long. Anyone in the booth got us? Please tell me you do.
I got you.
Eddie Dabscott is such a dick. Alright, well, I'm back here. Thank you, Eddie. Loved your report. Alright, my pick for the win, I'll probably take Jackie. It's gotta be Jackie Kennedy. I can't, because realistically, we're gonna get a caution somewhere close to the pit cycle, because it seems like this is what this track does. And she seems to be having boosts after at restarts that no other driver is getting, and so yeah, really, she should be the one winning this if the race continues in the same pattern it has been for the entire race right now, which might not. Hopefully, it's not. It's fun when things are not predictable.
I think I'm gonna go with a bit of an outside pick. I'm gonna go with Freya von Lundqvist in this 42 car. She's just kind of been slowly, methodically working her way up through all race. Hasn't really made a lot of noise. Hasn't made a big splash, but she's moved up into 7th right now. She's just slowly picking positions off, and you know, I'm gonna say I think the 42 might be one to watch. She's a bit of a sleeper, but I think that may be what it takes to win this race. Especially if you see somebody like Jackie Kennedy dominating out front. I don't think you want to be dominating this race, especially once it gets towards the end, because that's when you're gonna be real worried, and I think you might overwork yourself. So I'm gonna take that 42.
So, hang on.
Hello, I'm here.
Great. I love when the audio inputs get mixed. We got a great technical team here at the track. You know, these recent ESN budget cuts after we got bad out, I don't really like it.
You're gonna have to bring that up with management.
Yeah, I know. I already complained, but you know, you're saying it's cost-cutting measures, and you know, the cable is dying. So, all right.
How about Isabella Smith? She's moved up to 9th spot. She's taken that away from Naomi Davenport.
Yes, it's definitely it's definitely a good, and honestly, everybody's kind of close right now. So if she can continue that pace, maybe she can get up front. I don't know if we can challenge for the lead.
They're catching the lap car right now, by the way. They're catching the 10 of Charlie McCarron right now.
Yeah, that's gonna be to expect. Basically, the lapse of time it took. Actually, no, it's slightly faster than the lapse of time it took the first long run that we had. So that is to be expected.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna.
But I think if we're starting to pull up on lap cars, that's gonna be very influential, because that's where I think we're gonna see, especially if you're Jackie Kennedy, that's where we're gonna see it be really difficult to make those moves to get around. You know, Tammy Bird's up to second, and she's looking like she might be a challenger to Kennedy. She's been keeping with that 51, or keeping with that 12 car, excuse me, while in the 12's dirty air. Martel's still up here. You got Mila Chestina in the 6 car. She's been kind of slowly working her way through. How about Ile in the 88 car, running in 6th spot? It's a really good run.
Yeah, that's great for her. All right. But you know, it, it's Eli is the perfect example of a driver that's trying to get a car this year. She's out of a ride right now. She's probably not gonna get one, but hey, who knows? And it really she doesn't have. She has everything to prove at this point because of a early season performance, and that's not an only situation that she has right now. She's the most obvious example because she literally lost her ride. But there's I don't know, I'd say 6-7 drivers that are in that kind of position right now. 7-8 drivers I mean that are in that kind of position right now.
You really don't want to mention that, huh?
Kids, man. All right.
Anyways, yeah, the 6 car looks very fast right now. Mila Chestina has been making quite a few moves. She's been getting by. She got by Rose Lockport there. She's pressuring Sandy Martel right now.
Well, yeah, definitely. All right. Well, I think at this point we're starting to see that the top 10 isn't really behaving like it was in the first round. I don't know if there was some kind of adjustments that most of the field did in that first run of pit stops, but it's really interesting. Also, where's the mid-pack in this? Because it doesn't seem like there was a big battle in the mid-pack like there was at the beginning.
There isn't really a mid-pack. There's not really battles anywhere, really. It's right now, pretty much everybody's just kind of chilled out.
This is interesting. That's a dynamic we really didn't see it during that first. So I don't know what changed. Maybe the temperature's dropping since this is obviously a night in September. And so this is what maybe the lower temperatures do, but I don't know if it. I want to see battles. That's just what I want to see.
Yeah, I think we all do.
Battles.
Oh my gosh, the 93.
I didn't mean physical battles.
The 93 just punted the 14, and I actually thought the 14 was going around. I don't know how. I don't know how she saved it.
I thought the 14 was getting in that wall and bouncing back. So that's fortunate. I will say maybe
12's starting to pull away from the 84 a little bit.
I feel like this second round, the cars in general in the field seem less stable. So I think it might actually be a weather change.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, these cars are just. We've seen more.
They're starting to get a little more
and
antsy now. Seeing Cassidy Jones fighting with Freya von Lundqvist, 7th spot at stake here.
Well, as the tire run continues, they're gonna get more advanced in the difference in tire order they've accumulated at the beginning of that run.
Yeah.
So that's why the battles are opening, but they're not really battles in the sense of really side by side tight racing, more than they're just
they're just kind of
logical progressions of the
putting
rhythm.
pressure on each other and seeing who blinks first, really. That's kind of how it's been this run. And they should have the fuel to go the distance. And 84 starting to close back up again. Granted, that's more so because the 12 car is, being held up in lap traffic a fair bit, but Still, the 12 car, the 12 car's not exactly been holding a very strong lead most of this run.
Yes, and I mean, if they start the battle for second place, that's good for the 12.
Yes, it is.
And I believe that 12 probably ran in Britain a little bit of a rubber early on to keep the lead, and that's, I mean, probably seems like a pretty good strategy. So I wouldn't be surprised if.
And I feel like if the 84 is keeping pace with the 12, and you've got two cars that are behind the 84 that have been, faster than her. We're seeing the 51 of Sandy Martel trying to get by. I feel like that these cars behind the 84 might honestly be faster than that 12 car. The 12 car is just kind of maintaining the lead off principle right now, really.
Yes, but if I was at 51, I would really hurry to passing that 84.
Well, she tried.
Because...
She was doing it right there. She just couldn't keep it.
Yeah,
couldn't keep
I mean,
the car on the inside.
Look, we've seen dirty racing this race. It's been mostly unjustified. And I feel like in this case,
it's starting to get
wouldn't
justified.
make sense, at least. In this case, it's kind of not justifiable in a moral sense, but it's justifiable in the, I guess, the economic sense.
You gotta go for the positions.
So, I think the standards have been lowered this race, and she could get away with a sloppy.
Are the standards not lowered when we run Continental?
Yes, but even more lower. This is, oh, I can't say that. This is worse.
The 12th place battle, Izzy Oberman and Katrin Edelstein right there. Those two fighting. Seeing Isabella Smith right there, she's in 9th spot. Naomi Davenport is 10th.
Seems like Oberman.
Yeah, Tammy Bird's starting to lose ground now in the 84. She's starting to slip back quite a bit. I wonder if she maybe just doesn't have a long run car right now.
What I'm getting worried is that 51 might not be able to pass that 84 for some reason. And that's burning her tires down. And we might see that same cycle repeat with the 6, which probably doesn't have the tires burned down as much as a lap car.
There's the 26 of Morales.
We didn't get anybody that got a off cycle for the moment.
How about Bridget Brousseau? Remember, she was a lap down for a while? I was saying this might be her worst run, and now she's back in 11th again. It's like every week Bridget Brousseau just finds some new way to get to the top 10. Meanwhile, the 51 really slid wide. Almost let the 6 through, but this Chestina couldn't quite get to her.
I think right now would be a good point, like with 50 laps to go, to check on our playoff drivers, because right now they're kind of in a situation where I think that the races are kind of getting settled down to get to the final stretch, and the positions might change a little bit, but they can't really, I don't think anybody's going to gain 15 spots now.
Yeah, we'll do our playoff driver overview right now, but Sandy Martel is in 3rd, Cassidy Jones is in 7th, Freya Van Lundquist is 8th, Naomi Davenport 10th, 12th and 13th is being battled between Katrin Edelstein and Izzy Oberman. Ani Starchev is in 17th. Who's in where? Okay, Vinny Schultz is 22nd right now. Robin Morales 23rd. Laura Sundale is 25th. Kathy Ableton Perez is 26th. Isabel Fitzmaurice is 28th. Deborah Williams 29th. Lynn Oswell is 30th. Reina Munoz 32nd. And there's a bunch of other drivers that are out of the race right now. We may see a fight for third here, as here comes Mila Tristina trying to get around Sandy Martel, but Tristina's got a lap car in front of her. Well, it looks like it's not going to matter too much.
What are you doing?
Alright.
Yeah, she'll be clear here, I think.
She should be. I think down.
Yeah, she's clear.
There's no mess
She got
up.
by.
There we go, that's fine.
And Burns
Everything's
starting
fine.
to close back in on Kennedy again. And Freya von Lundqvist got around Cassidy Jones. Rose Lockport trying to pass Martel. You got Ile on the outside. Martel really drove it deep on the outside to stay ahead of that 77.
And once their last pit, it's getting it's very close.
They shouldn't pit again. With where the last caution fell, they should not pit again. It would be at pretty much the edge of the tire window. It's at about 100 laps after they pitted for tires, but they should not come down pit road again for tires.
I will say that means that we got maybe 10, 20 more laps of real racing, and then the tire wear is just going to be so much that they can't really overtake well.
That said, they are catching more lappers.
Yeah, lappers are not going to help, but again, it's just at a certain level, by getting to the inside, you're not getting time, and that makes passing extremely hard, unless you get some kind of pass around the outside going. But that's pass around the outside is extremely tricky.
It is.
Good conditions. So, especially this late in the race. When
Whoa, the 84's got a problem.
Oh, no.
Oh, the 26 just ran into her. The 84 is stopping. She's around. A caution is out. I don't know what happened to the 84, but she just stopped.
Well, I guess she won't be a problem for the drivers behind her now. Yeah, that's unfortunate for the 84.
44 will be the 62 will actually be the free pass car. The 44 will get back in the lead lap because she got the free pass last time and then she got an unwarranted penalty. Looks like everybody's down pit road. I do not have a problem with that. I think you want to make that call.
Well, obviously, I mean, we're what, 60 laps in, 50 laps into a run. That's a second and a half, 2 seconds. So it's very, I mean, yeah, it's a no-brainer to come in and change 4 tires. Then if you put in more fuel there.
Kennedy wins the race out. It'll be
actually
51 and 88. 6 cars spending a long time on pit road.
I think some drivers took fuel and some didn't. Or is it damage? Kind of confused by that.
I think it was just a long stop in the 6 car.
Those were really long stops though. All right. Well, yep. Seems like it's
Yeah, it's just 4 tires for everybody.
it's
Nothing
just
else.
4 tires, but that's interesting then. Now the question is just, do you push hard at the beginning, or do you wait a few laps, but other people might be pushing hard? That's because the tire wear in 35 laps, going to be significant enough that it can actually create problems for people who just wear the tire out too much. They can
Let's
just
see if
push
we
to
can
the end.
find what happens here to bring out this caution flag. Well, we
There
already
was a
know what
mechanical
happens.
failure, I believe.
There's a
Yeah.
mechanical failure. Something happens in the 84. 26 gets into her, and she just spins. Lockport got into her, too. Lockport took a bit of damage. Ellie, you got word on why Tammy Bird had that issue?
Yeah, we're hearing from her team that she ended up having a tire go down on her, and there was no way she could have moved out of the way in time.
Well, it happened in the middle of the straightaway, you know, right where there's a wall on the inside, so I can see that.
I mean, usually the drivers would just go down anyway, because it's kind of a rule of this. But hey, these are young drivers; they can forget that kind of stuff sometimes.
Green flag. We're back to racing here in North Wilkesboro.
Good, clean start for everybody. Nobody attacked at the beginning, and I'm kind of surprised by that. I imagine people around the 10th position would want to get moving extremely quickly, and well, that's what they're doing. Well, at least attempting to.
Martell's really pressuring Kennedy right now. Kennedy goes wide. 51 can't really make much of it yet. She just isn't close enough.
Oh, that 12. That 12's behaving weirdly in comparison to how she behaved the entire race, really. She's not... Yeah, she's going way higher than she usually would. I don't know if there's... I mean, there's probably not something, but there's a... I don't know what kind of strategy the 12's going for. Maybe the 12's going for a reverse here, where she's going to push maybe lap 35.
Ellie?
But,
Yeah, we've got report from Morales' team that she had an issue with her piston.
Well, 26 now being out. That's another playoff driver with trouble. Ooh, Ilay's in the wall.
Ah, that's unfortunate. Alright, well, let's
She's
do this
battling with
position.
Rose Lockport for third spot. I think she's going to end up losing that. Cassidy Jones
probably.
back here, sitting in fifth. There's Isabella Smith in sixth. It's a pretty good run for Smith. Oh, Michaela Kirkland in the 54 car. She's going to drag her way up here.
Top two kind of got away here, which I'm kind of surprised by. I mean,
A little surprising, but not too surprising, I think.
We've seen some version of that phenomenon happen every restart this race. However, the cars didn't really behave like they were gaining that much time. Except if they found maybe a way to just get more speed by going higher earlier in the run. Which, I mean, would be impressive.
And that's another thing. It's just track position is really important here. You had to have a good pit stop that time. I thought Mila Tristina might have been able to challenge, but she had a pretty bad stop. She's dropped all the way back. She's actually dropped out of the top 10 now.
I mean, realistically, right now, it's going to be somebody in top 4 trying to go for this win. Not because you know we're getting very close to the end of this race now. We're gonna get to 22 laps to go. almost that's half that's 2 Windows 11 to go. That means that that means that at this point, if you want to get to the front, if you're anywhere after 4th place, you gotta get a 10th per lap.
Yeah.
Probably more to offset the laps that are gonna spend overtaking people. It's not impossible, but it'd be surprising.
Yeah, that'd be a gargantuan effort, to say the least.
Right now, it's 12's race to lose because she's up front and it's.
She's dominated. The 12 car has been pretty much the one. I haven't seen. I don't think I can see anybody else but her right now, unless
I mean,
maybe that 51 gains something on her, but.
We've seen some pretty disgusting moves today. We might see the disgustingness. That's not a word.
No, it's not. But I get you.
Well,
I get what you mean.
Well, what are words?
Just some things we
Alright.
made up.
Exactly. So, what's kind of interesting is that we're getting a big split here in the middle of the not the middle of the top of the pack, which is quite interesting. I don't know what caused it, but it's except for the top 2 just having more speed.
I mean, honestly, at this point, I think it's got to be. We got to consider this a top 3 battle. The 77's gotten up here.
The 77's gotten here, but with the fact that we're kind of we're not early in the run anymore, but we're not late. Probably gonna take maybe 2-3 laps overtaking the 51. So if she wants to have a chance at the win, she's gotta overtake within the next 5 laps. Otherwise, it becomes basically impossible. Unless we get a late caution, which is
it's very
a
possible.
possibility here.
Just don't want that caution to be too late.
I mean, if you're Jackie Kennedy, you'd be fine.
You'd be fine with
a
that,
late
yeah.
caution.
Martel's gotten pretty close to Kennedy again, but she's kind of starting to get into that dirty air of the 12 car now. So Kennedy just has not really made a mistake. And that's kind of been what's keeping Martel behind right now. Martel hasn't been able to capitalize on any mistakes.
I wouldn't say that the Kennedy made a lot of mistakes. She has made mistakes. It's just that she's able to turn them into, well, not being positive, being not enough of a negative for the 51 to get back. Because we've seen that space between first and second close up and down for basically the entirety of the race. But it's just extremely hard to overtake her.
Curious about playoff drivers. Yeah, Rose Lockport. And also, we're starting to close in on more lap cars. That could play a big factor. As we've passed our Windows 11 to go, we're at 10 to go. Jackie Kennedy leading the way. Martel and Lockport in the mix within a second of Kennedy.
Now that's been Kennedy's weakness, really
Yes, it has.
today. Those lap cars. If she loses the race for this, I mean, she's gonna be incredibly angry, I would imagine, after this, because it's kind of silly to lose a race on 2 lappers for a wreck that happened on lap 4.
Martel's closing in. Martel's closing in a
10
lot.
The 10's been clement in this, but yeah, the issue is here. It's the kind of being boxed in.
Here comes
That's
Martel.
what's
She's
happening.
looking.
Oh, goodness.
Ooh, Kennedy got underneath. Just barely, but Kennedy did get there. But now Martel's going to be pressuring Kennedy all over. And she may have a look to the inside. Nope. Stays back. That
Kennedy
could be
was
it for... That could
incredibly
be...
aggressive on that. She
That could be it for Martel, though. There's no more lap cars within sight here. Unless Martel can pull something incredible here. I'm not sure.
This is the moment where Kennedy is the most vulnerable to mistake.
Yes.
That she's been this entire run, and yeah, no, she's not done a mistake here, and that means yeah, 51.
51's getting some good runs on corner exit. 4 to go. Ooh, Martel was the one who slipped, though.
I think that was voluntary. I think she tried to see if the outside would work. Because right now she's just desperate. Because we've seen that outside working multiple times in the race, but usually it's later in the run. So that's just desperation more than anything, and something that might have tried, might have worked.
3 to go.
If it had worked, I would have seen that genius move. But
Might have just been trying to get momentum on the outside. Try and carry that against the 12 here. Coming to 2 to go.
yeah, it's hard because the 12 is just perfect on the outside, even if he's
It's hard to bet
great
against
on
the 12 right now.
The 12 is just... She's not good at taking her apexes. She takes them way too high. But she just gets those runs out of the corner.
White flag. 1 lap to go. Martel's pressuring. But Kennedy's been so smooth under pressure. Martel will have one last chance into turns 3 and 4, but she's not going to have enough. Jackie Kennedy. Last week came up short. This week she does it. Kennedy dominates and wins in North Wilkesboro.
That was a good race for Kennedy. She never, I would say she never looked like dominant, but she always looked like one of the fastest car on the racetrack. She didn't get a 5-second lead on anybody or anything, but she was always there, and she didn't cuck up, and yeah, that basically means she was in the best position to win this race, because most drivers in this race cut up in some way or another.
You just gotta be good like that sometimes. It's Kennedy who wins it, so nobody will lock their spot into nobody locks their spot into the next round yet. We will have conversations about the playoffs in our post-race show, but what did you think of what you saw in this one, Lou? How did you feel about this one, and what do you think we're gonna see next week in Kansas?
It was a race that happened. No, but I mean, this was your regular short track race with a bit more wrecking than usual. But otherwise, yeah, we had a few drivers competitive. The rest of the field just bunched together. Quite a few entertaining battles, even though it wasn't really overwhelming. But yes, it was a good enough race. It was a fair race, and I think that's the most important factor in a playoff. Is you have races that are not just random winners.
Yeah. And Jackie Kennedy definitely showed why, she should have been here. With that being said, we're going to take you to the FanDuel Fan Studio. We'll have conversations about the playoffs, and we will have our points updates, and we'll have maybe some predictions as to who makes it through the round after this first event. Ellie and Eddie, what do you two got down there?
Not them again.
Unfortunately, the broadcast did not cut away fast enough, so we did end up hearing that thing from Lou, but at this point, I'm not surprised. Yep, it's the post-race studio, FanDuel Fan Studio, still down here in the infield in North Wilkesboro, where 250 laps later, Jackie Kennedy goes from starts from pole, leads practically every lap that mattered, I think, and ends up and will win this race. I mean, one of the most dominating performances we've seen in a Continental race all season, and almost naturally, because it is the Continental Series, it comes from the driver who was just the first person out of the playoffs last week. Ellie, initial thoughts?
My thoughts are it was a pretty solid race. I enjoyed watching it, and Jackie Kennedy definitely isn't written off just because she didn't make the playoffs. She's a great driver, and I think she proved that today, honestly. And another big thing with her is, well, she won the pole and she won the race. Not many drivers win the pole and win the race, especially right before that playoff bubble. We didn't see many drivers win the pole and win the race either. So I think being able to say you did that is also, you know, you could pat yourself on the back for that. I won't judge you.
I will definitely say this among all things. Gulf Racing, they haven't had a great season. Annie Starkiev, of course, makes the playoffs, but it's a 4-car team. Obviously, we'll get smaller with the new rules coming up next year, Continental, but I mean, I don't think anyone was going to say Jackie Kennedy shouldn't make the team next year or move on to the Cup Series, but I think what this showed is that, yeah, she's probably got a spot locked down with this win. So we'll expect to see her next year. Other things from, I think, the starts, as we see actually fastest lap there, which was also won by Jackie Kennedy. Have results been updated? No, they have not. I seem to have lost things. In that case, I think we can just go on to the current points, which are now updated thanks to our statistician. Sandy Martell leads the way. Cassidy Jones, Izzy Oberman make up the top 3, and then at the bottom, Robin Morales holding the final transfer spot by 1 point over Hideyoko and Rachel Ramos. Cara Reynolds, LaTanya Gray, and Zoe Quinton are the other, I was about to say 3 or 4, but point is, Yoko, Ramos, Reynolds, Gray, Quinton would be eliminated as of right now, and you know, the other 15 drivers. Any shocking things you see in the current standings as they are being updated, Ellie?
Other than Martell, which doesn't entirely shock me, no. Where the drivers are, those drivers who look like they're going to be eliminated, I am not shocked. I know there's probably going to be some people who are like, oh wow, that's harsh, but I'm really not. With Sandy Martell's performance, I think that does vindicate this conversation I had with Echo one time. We were talking about what drivers and how we think they are going to perform in the playoffs, and Sandy Martell was one of the ones where I was like, I think she's one of those underdogs who is actually going to do good, because she had a good bit in the middle of the season where she wasn't too great, and she kind of just slowly got better and better and performed better, and I think she's finally there, where she's at this point where she might do pretty decent in the playoffs. She performed great.
Well, yeah, she did. Currently 32 points above the cutoff. 40 points is about the spot in the race, so hypothetically, she gets 8 points. I mean, all it takes is finishing 8 points ahead of the cutoff spot in the next race, and Sandy Martell will advance to the round of 15. But yeah, you talk about, you know, how close it is, not surprised. I mean, it's not surprised that anyone could change. We have 6 drivers above the cut line who are within 10 points of Hideyoko and Rachel Ramos. So a lot of things could change, and realistically, no one is safe, but I'm sure Oberman, Davenport, and Edelstein, and Cassidy Jones and Martell, the top 5, are feeling a little bit better, given
If
a
I were the top
25-point
5,
margin.
I would definitely be feeling really good about where I am right now. And another thing is, I would be feeling even better that honestly that Jackie Kennedy won, not because that she won, but because that it wasn't somebody in the playoffs who won. That doesn't lock somebody in. So for them, it's almost like a breath of fresh air. The playoff field is still definitely competitive, even for the drivers who are below that cut line. They are probably breathing like a sigh of like relief, because I mean, it's not a new playoff driver with a win that's locking themselves in. So I think in terms of playoff competitiveness, everybody in that contention is probably happy with this win.
I'm also sure they're happy because it doesn't mean Jackie Kennedy is going to be gunning for something later. I'm sure she'll go for other wins, but getting that first win, I can say, is definitely a mind calmer. It gives you, or at least gives you, the confidence to move forward with winning future races, but also doesn't make you as aggressive. So I think they're also going to be helpful that Jackie Kennedy will not be trying to act on the dangerous side to get wins in the future, since that car and that team could definitely be a problem later. Now, just I don't want to rush, could look ahead to the rest of the schedule. Again, we have 2 more races. We have Kansas, 1.5 miles, Protection 1 300. Then after that, it's Oswego, I don't know. Even know where it is at this point. Flow Racing 300, which is another track not similar to North Wilkesboro. I don't believe it is paved, or at least paved in the way of North Wilkesboro, but it is another 5/8 of a mile track. So it's certainly another short track, as we can designate that. So a speedway and a short track left in this. I don't know, any drivers you think could maybe make a big run in those 2 races, or any drivers you think are close to that cut line who should be feeling a little bit more pressure given previous performances at speedways similar to Kansas or short tracks in general?
I think for the drivers below the cut line, I would be worried no matter what race you're getting on right now. You didn't perform the greatest at a short track. A lot of those drivers below the cut line also don't perform that great at speedways either. Now, a race that's a little further out that I am definitely looking out for, not just because I really like the track, but because it is going to be definitely a very competitive and hard race. It's going to be Atlanta, and I feel like that's going to be a race where we're going to really see who's going to try and put themselves at the top no matter what. Like, that's going to be the race where we see the driver who's trying to make their name be the face of the playoffs.
I would agree in that. Atlanta's pretty closest race, I would say, to Homestead Miami. I guess we were asked by Echo offhandedly, but we can go and say it now. Ellie, you have any predictions of any 5 drivers you think won't be making the next round, seeing the standings as of right now?
Ramos, probably not. Reynolds could make it up. Gray could also make it up. Now, there's drivers who are above the cut line that I would be worried about if you're fans of them, or just if you are that driver. I would be worried about Oswell. I would be worried about Munoz, and I would be worried about Morales. Munoz is a pretty solid driver, and she does pretty good at the speedways, so I think she and her team are definitely preparing for those speedways, but you are close to that cut line, and you would definitely be in that list of drivers I would look out for to get out of playoff contention.
I would say Quinton's, of all the playoff drivers, Quinton's going into next race with, I think, the most amount of pressure after what happened today.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously, both in terms of points and also in terms of just performance. LaTonya Gray's a coin flip, and we've known this, so if the coin lands
she either
tails...
crashes and burns, which I said earlier, and I accurately predicted, or she does pretty solidly.
The crashing and burning part was not her fault, granted, but I think Gray, I mean, it's a coin flip, but the problem is if she gets tails twice, I don't think heads is going to save her if she manages that at Oswego. Robin Morales, I think, is probably not prepared to catch Yoko and Ramos when the pressure's on them, so I'd be worried about her. I'm kind of on the fence about names like Oswell, Fitzmaurice, and Sundale, sort of in that mix. A name I want to point out, 12 points above the cut line is Vinny Scholes. And while I love Vinny Scholes dearly, again, I've called a couple of her races over at the Lumen Stock Car Invitational, and I think Duncan has raced with her a couple of times in the Sprint Series. I am concerned that 12 points, Vinny seems to be a driver who can have the worst luck on the worst days. I don't think a 12-point gap right now is going to save her if it happens at Kansas or Oswego. She needs to have a better race one of these two races if she wants to. I'm a bit concerned for her just in terms of what might happen. But again, that's a huge might.
Oh, I agree with your point. She was one of the drivers I was talking to Echo about again during this previous conversation, that she performed well when I first got on AWSCO and started being in the studio. She was a driver we would always talk about her every race. Oh, Vinny Schultz is, she's really good at these type of tracks, whatever. And it was accurate for a good point. And then there was a point where as we got closer to the playoffs, she kind of just didn't perform that well. And if she gets into that pattern again in the playoffs, that's when I would worry. She had an alright, pretty decent performance here, but if you don't have that good performance at the next race, that is definitely a driver I would be looking at to be falling below the cut line.
He is a driver that has good races, but has those good races in bunches. So, yeah, 21st is not a great start for her. Would like to point out, Sandy Martell, best finish for her since Memphis, where she finished second. Anyone else with a long streak, I think, Izzy Oberman, that's not really surprising. I mean, Davenport's always been good. Katrin Edelstein had not finished top 10 since Aguas Calientes.
That was a while ago.
I mean, that's a while ago, and yeah, here we go, 6th place. And it puts her in a really good spot. So we're gonna have to see how that Heath Clarkson car does. Both Heath Clarkson cars in the top 5 is certainly an interesting moment, but anything can change here in this playoff format. I think we've gone through the playoffs. I'm going to say, as soon as I say that, I get a word from the owner of Heath Clarkson Racing, being shocked those drivers are doing so good. I'm sure that's going to make for some fun post-race interviews. But that's going to do it here from the post-race studio. I'm going to send it up to the booth to officially sign us off. For Ellie, I have been Eddie. And yeah, back up to the booth where Echo and Ladovic can sign us off.
Yeah, and a very fun race here from North Wilkesboro. Everyone here enjoyed that race a lot, and I'm really excited for tomorrow's race as well, where we'll have 400 laps here in North Wilkesboro, and we will hope to see you there. All right, on behalf of Lou, Ellie, and Eddie, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tomorrow we've got the Tyson Farms 400 from North Wilkesboro for the Cup Series playoffs. We hope to see you there. All right, I'm Echo. Thank you.